Welcome to Stitchery Stories, where textile artists share their life in fabric and thread, inspiration, techniques, disasters and delights. And I'm Susan Reeks, enthusiastic embroiderer and textile art dabbler who also loves podcasting. So take a break and enjoy our light-hearted chat, and please share with your friends so they can enjoy it too. Hello and welcome today to my lovely guest, Amy James. Hi Amy.
Hello, you all right?
I'm good, thank you, Amy.
Good.
Right, everybody. Amy, you may recognise her name if you've listened to all of my episodes. So Amy was last a guest here, and I thought it was a couple of years ago, but crikey, she was one of my early guests. October 2017 was when Amy and I first chatted. So we'll explain why Amy is back and see what's been going on. So before I get chatting with Amy and go through her bio and links and stuff, I've got a couple of announcements that I just wanted to sneak in. So if you'll all bear with me. So yesterday, a lady got in touch with me through Instagram, and it's Ruth. Now, I'll probably say this wrong, but I think it's something like Saraseda. I think she's Spanish, but she's in Sussex. So Ruth Saraseda. And she sent me a lovely note wondering if I knew of any groups around the Sussex area, or I suppose anywhere in the UK possibly, who were making face masks. Now, I've seen like groups in America and I think Spain and various places, people making face masks, for like healthcare workers or anybody who wants one, I suppose. So she was just wondering if anybody knows of anywhere around Sussex or the UK who's making face masks, because she wants to get her fingers on her sewing machine busy. So if you want to, you can either link with her, send Ruth a link. I'll put Ruth's profile on our episode as well of Stitchery Stories. So if you can get in touch, that would be really fabulous. And then most of you may know that my other hat is that of I provide online. I'm an online technology trainer, and I've actually recently launched my own training brand called The Missing Training. And I've been planning several courses, and the one that I've just zoomed to the top of the list is my course on Zoom. So it's called Learn How to Use Zoom Video Conferencing so you can take your business online. It's everything you need to meet with, advise, and teach your customers without leaving your office, studio, or house. So to say, I had this in the planning, and I got this up and running. So if anybody's interested in that, it's £49, and it's basically there to help you create a professional experience for your paying customers as you try and move your business online. Lots of people have asked me about this, so this is the kind of best way I can help lots of people. So you can email me at hello@Stitchery Stories for that one, or if you're on Facebook, you can find me on there as well. I'm everywhere. Right, that's enough about notices. I sound like the local WI, don't I? Right, anyway. Right, I found Amy's bio as well, so I'm doing really well. Right, Amy is a quilter, textile artist and tutor from Derbyshire. She's been sewing for around 9 years and quickly found her passion for quilting. In 2013, she opened up a high street haberdashery and started to teach locally. She then started to teach around the country at the knitting and stitching shows and the Festival of Quilts. And at the end of 2018, she had a break from the haberdashery world on the high street to focus on teaching. But in January 2020, she reopened her doors. And then I think we need ... after that, don't we? Because Amy's going to fill us in with her story and the focus of today's episode. So, have I done everything? Oh, Amy's links. Right. So you can find Amy on her website, simplyneedlecraft.com. You can find her on Instagram as simply_needlecraft. And you can find her on Facebook as Simply Needlecraft Haberdashery. All right. And you'll want to go and follow her in all those places because she's doing some really interesting things at the moment, and she's getting herself online as well. So here we go. Right. Have I done all the links now, Amy?
Yes.
Right. So, Amy, would you like to share with us what you're working on at the moment and what's got you excited?
So at the minute, quilting I normally do by machine.
Yeah.
However, at the minute I've started hand quilting, doing the shishiko to Japanese embroidery.
Ah, yes.
So that I'm finding really relaxing at the minute. because I wanted something that you could do in front of the telly. Knitting is not my forte.
I'm hopeless at knitting. I'm the world's worst knitter.
Can't use a sewing machine and watch telly at the same time.
No.
This combated that problem.
Good old hand sewing, yeah.
Sewing, and it's really relaxing as well. So that's what I'm concentrating and sharing it with everybody at the minute as well.
You mentioned there it's a very relaxing technique. Yes, it is. It's something you can do in front of the telly. Yes, it is. Yeah. So that's a nice thing to do. Now, what I was quite intrigued about was, and the reason why I've kind of got you back here, is I know it's been a bit of a kind of a roller coaster ride for you the last couple of years, hasn't it, in many respects? And when we were speaking before, your episode, I entitled it, How Textile Art Changed Her Life. And that's not an exaggeration, is it, Amy? That really, well, you yourself said it had changed your life. So do you want to give us like an in a nutshell version of why textile art did change your life, and then how you've used it to cope with your kind of recent upheavals and what you're doing about it to help others? Does that make sense?
Yes, right. Okay, so I started sewing 9 years ago. But it came out of the blue, really, because I'd never liked sewing at school. But I was diagnosed with bipolar.
Yeah.
And shortly after I was diagnosed, I went on a sewing course with my mum to a local learning centre it was to take up a new hobby.
Yeah.
It was just a spontaneous decision to sign up to it. Never really thought I'd get that into it, but as soon as I started sewing, I just fell in love with it because for me it was kind of distracting me from everything else that was happening around me. And what I found was it helped me really well with my anxiety, because when I was thinking about what I was sewing at the time, you're not worrying about what's happened in the past or what might happen in the future.
Yes, very true.
Present. So I found when I was quilting, that was helping. Now, because I'm not a very patient person, so like and anything that takes a long time, normally I get bored with. But quilting, even though, because people laugh at me when I say I'm not a very patient person, but quilting is slightly different for me, is because there's that many different stages of quilting. So you've got your cutting out, then you're piecing together, then you're basting and you're quilting. For me, that's a different technique rolled into one.
Yeah.
So I don't get bored. So my mind's constantly thinking about what I'm doing. Plus, the good thing is when you finish the quilt, you automatically start thinking of a new design that you can do.
Yes.
That's really mindful, because you're not thinking about things that make you anxious or you're worrying about, because you're thinking of something creative and what's your next step. So that's how I got into it. That's why I set the haberdashery up and started teaching as well.
Yeah.
Show others how to do it, because instead of making quilts to sell, I'd rather teach somebody else how to do it.
Right. Yes, that's a nice idea, that.
Yes. So I prefer doing that. So I've been up and down the country working for knitting and stitching shows and festival quilts, and in my hometown teaching people how to do. So I did have to close the shop down at one point because I was teaching that much. But the last 12 months, probably 18 months really, have been quite hard. So quilting has got me through that.
Yeah.
So, the last 18 months, so I split up from my husband. We've got divorced. I had to move out of the home, so moving's quite stressful.
Yeah.
I had my stepmom diagnosed with breast cancer, but luckily last week she had her last treatment. One of my best friends died of breast cancer in June.
Right.
Died 10 days afterwards with throat cancer. So I've got lots of things going around me that I couldn't control. So during that time, I made this fantastic quilt, a Lone Star quilt, which really it took me a long time to do, and there's a lot of thinking involved.
That's one of the images you shared me with. It's like blue star,
Yes, loads of points to match up, loads of quilting. It took a lot bigger than it's supposed to as well.
Yeah.
So that for me was my therapy, going through that, because it keeps you in the present and not worrying about what's happening around you. So that's how it helps me. How I'm helping other people at the minute. So before the coronavirus outbreak, I actually I did a video with a friend that's only about 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
She hated me by the end of it because it actually took an hour and a half to film.
Yeah.
I kept laughing every time she pressed play on the camera. But I popped a video on Facebook just to say how it's helped me combat anxiety, because I still use it to this day.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've kind of used to help with my mental health problems. And I've actually been discharged from mental health services now.
Right. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, the psychiatrist always says to me, "How's your sewing going?" Because they're convinced it's the sewing as well that's helped.
Yeah.
I've uploaded this Facebook page hoping that if anybody else is struggling with anxiety, they might see it and try and take part in not just quilting, but just any crafts, any sewing, to kind of inspire them. And luckily, in 3 weeks since it's been uploaded, it's had 18.8 thousand views on Facebook.
Wow. That is amazing.
I never expected that at all. So since then, it's kind of pushed me to do Facebook Live videos. It's got me over the fear of just talking to a camera, because normally I'm in a room teaching with people where I get feedback. So it's a completely new thing for me having to talk to a screen, and it's got me over that fear.
Brilliant.
Right. So I've started to do Facebook Live tutorials, so that everybody can have a go now and see if it helps them.
You know, this is fantastic on many levels, Amy.
Yes.
I'm sure everybody's cheering that you've been released. Is that the right word? Anyway, from the mental health care. So that's fantastic, because after all that, and even after all that's happened to you in the last year or so, you hear you've dealt with your issues.
Yes.
Ongoing, you know, and as you say, it's come from you. And it's almost that old-fashioned thing of it, isn't it? Keep yourself busy. Give yourself something to do. The old occupational health ideas, wasn't it? And it's obviously, it's really true. It's not old-fashioned. It works.
No.
Or it's worked for you and lots of people that you know.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the other fabulous thing is what you've just said there about you've got rid of the fear of Facebook Lives.
Yeah.
I think if nothing else, the dreadful situation we're all finding ourselves in at the moment with this virus is that so many people are now going, oh my God, I've got to do something. Everything's been cancelled. My classes have been cancelled. What the hell can I do? And are going around, spinning around in a circle. And then it's like, and then they tell themselves this story. I can't do technology. I'm too scared. I don't do video, all the rest of it. It is a story in our heads that we've just got to, easier said than done, but just go and try and do it.
Yeah.
And you have, and look what's happened. All of those people have seen that video and it will have helped them in some way. And we can use technology to help people in different ways. I mean, that's the thing I earn money from doing. So, you know, I'm so happy to hear you do that. Now, I've done a few lives. The last couple of weeks, I've done a lot more, and I've been talking about Zoom, video conferencing, which is what I used to record this podcast with. But I've used it for, 98% of my clients have been virtual. I've only ever met about 2 of them. And this is over 10 years of working online. So I realized I had a lot of skills and things I totally take for granted. People don't know that. So I'd already been thinking about, doing a Zoom course. So I put mine together. But I've also on Facebook, mine have been like 20 minutes, something like that. Amazing when you get going, about explaining what Zoom was and giving some information out there. And in fact, a couple of people have said to me, wow, I've been using Zoom for ages and I've learned loads in your free thing. I thought, oh, right, I better get on with my course then. But also I've also done one about staying safe online, because I see a lot of embroidery friends and a lot of people who use Facebook just from a social point of view. It's quite a scary world out there at the moment in terms of fake news, crap being circulated, sending rubbish through Messenger, etc., etc. So a lot of my embroidery friends have found that really helpful. So this is not a plug, it's just a free Facebook Live that I did. If you go on Susan Weeks, you'll find me on Facebook, and it's about 20 minutes, I think, talk about all different ways that people can stay safe online, and particularly on Facebook. So some of you might find that useful. But yeah, I found it scary at first doing Facebook Lives. Now I don't care, because to me, the important thing is we're helping people. So anybody who's sat there going, oh God, it's all right for you, I'm really scared of Facebook Lives, please just go and try and practice on your own. And the thing, do you know what? The thing that we all battle like hell for on Facebook is attention anyway. You know, most times, whatever you put out there, nobody looks at anyway, because they've never seen it, because Facebook hasn't shown it to them. So please don't let that worry you. So gold star for you for getting over your fear of Facebook Lives. So you mentioned as well that you're starting to do like sewing seminars and things like that. So do you want to explain a bit about how that's come about, Amy, and how that's going, what you're doing there?
Yeah, so for the sewing webinar, so I'd had this idea a few months ago, actually, when I was teaching at Harrogate, knitting and stitching show, because the downside of when I leave these shows is I don't see these people again. And a lot of people were saying to me, have you got a follow-on course? Do you deal with online teaching? And I kept saying, no, it's something I need to look into. So when I got back from Harrogate in November, I was like, right, I need to set this up. I need to get out to people online that can't make it to Derbyshire, because it is quite remote for some people. It's a long way for people to travel. I need to reach these people that want to learn. Again, it was one of the things that got put on the back burner because the shop reopened. So now with the virus, I've actually got the time to sit and sort that out. I've got no excuse. So what I'll be doing is quilting courses online. So where we quilt along, I'll be making the quilt along with everybody, and we can have a little community group on Zoom. So it will just be like people are coming into my studio, we're just doing it virtual.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing as well for people to understand is, again, everyone will be probably sick to death of hearing about Zoom, but it's quite convenient actually that you're thinking of moving towards that as well, or you're already using it, because if you're listening and you're sat there going, oh God, I've never been on a Zoom thing, I don't know what to do, let me just say, again, I've mentioned this on my Facebook page, you get a link and you click on it, and Zoom will quickly, it downloads a little bit of software so that it can actually run. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't need a Zoom account. It'll work on your phone. It'll work on your iPad. It'll work on your computer. It'll work on anything. It's really easy.
I mean, I've had to learn a lot about it over a week, because I was that a lot of people from this video I put on Facebook have contacted me, especially over the last week, about struggling with anxiety, and they don't normally struggle with anxiety. This is something new they're experiencing.
Right.
So a lot of people, so I've actually teamed up with one of my friends who is a life coach in South Africa.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, so Zoom for us has been a godsend for us to link up, so I can link him up abroad, because he was supposed to be coming to London, but unfortunately can't because of all the border controls now.
Yeah.
Zoom has been our answer to be able to still get to people with us both, with me being here and him being in South Africa. It's just linked us up perfectly. And
that's a really interesting collaboration then between you with your how you help people with anxiety via sewing and quilting, keeping their hands busy, thinking about what they're doing now, and a life coach who can kind of probably fill in some other gaps and things as well, and bring an extra dimension to it. That is a really interesting collaboration there, and I've not come across anybody doing anything like that.
No, we are quite different. I'm still going to teach him to sew. I'm thinking I'm going to invite him to one of my sewing webinars.
Well, men have got fingers too.
Well, yes, they have. No excuse, really, is it?
Fabulous. And so, have you actually done any sessions together so far?
Yes. So our Facebook page is Social Isolation Mindset Focus. It is a bit long-winded. He's come up with that title, not me.
I'm going to say I've only written half of it down, so I'll have to listen to this and write it down properly.
Social Isolation Mindset Focus. So that page, we're both admins. So if you want to contact me on that page, we're both available to reply to you. So yeah, we've done a couple of Facebook lives and Q&As where people have asked us questions. Some people don't feel comfortable in admitting that they're a little bit anxious at the minute, but they're very welcome to come and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then if anybody wants to message us privately after that, then that's fine. We're getting back to everybody.
Right. That's lovely as well, because again, not everybody is used to using technology in this kind of level, and to participate, for lots of people, just the act of participating in a group Zoom thing or commenting on a Facebook Live is quite a big step for them. Again, I know all of this because I think only about one or two of my podcast guests had ever been a podcast guest. Most of them had never used Zoom before. Why would anybody? You're all textile artists and embroidery fans. So, you know, I've gone round this loop many times over the 3 years. Obviously, I'm a creature who lives online anyway, but I know what it's like for people who just can't get over their fear of being visible online. So it's, you know, anybody listening, again, you're being incredibly brave if you would just go and admit that you're suffering by going and joining a group like that and listening. And there's so much support out there, you know. But I was like really, really chuffed to hear, see what Amy's been doing as well. Again, especially with it being you've been a past guest as well. So that's just really, really fantastic. Now, you mentioned about enjoying your Sasiko. So, because when I was going to ask you, is any particular techniques that you found to be more appropriate or useful for this work? I mean, a lot of people talk about slow stitching, don't they? I suppose we've had a couple of guests talking about that as well. So, is there anything that's kind of leaps out to you that a technique kind of needs to have to work for you? Obviously, everybody's different.
Yeah. So with, like I say, with the Japanese embroidery, that is relaxing. But also, I did do a Facebook Live the other day on a really easy way to transfer your own embroidery designs, hand stitching.
Yeah.
Because I'm finding that hand stitching, that hand-to-eye coordination is instantly relaxing. And it's a proven fact as well. Hand-to-eye coordination actually increases serotonin and endorphins in your brain. So that's what I concentrate on, is the hand sew at the moment.
Do you know, I don't know much about any of this, so that's really interesting. So the actual hand-to-eye coordination, again, I guess because you're concentrating and focusing on what you're doing, aren't you? So then your brain's going to give you a reward, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's like anything. I mean, it doesn't need to be sewing related. I mean, a lot of people have gone into the fitness world now, aren't they? You know, decided to exercise. That's the same thing. If you're doing exercise like star jumps or things like that, because your hand-to-eye coordination, and people that have gone out and bought a load of paint to decorate again, and the painting is hand-to-eye coordination. So yeah, it's all good.
Right, fabulous. Yeah, well, I'm glad I asked you that, because I didn't really, I had no idea about any of those things. Yeah, fantastic. Now, the other thing I was just going to go back to was your shop. So you reopened, because I know when I spoke to you last, you were on the verge, I think, of kind of closing your shop, as you say, because you were out and about teaching, and you couldn't have your shop and teach at the same time. So I think you were doing then lessons at your shop, weren't you? I think so. So then you opened your shop up again.
Yes, 4th of January this year. Not the best time.
Thinking 2020 is going to be the best year ever. Like we all did.
Yeah. we've had a really good few months until we had to close doors last week, obviously.
Yeah.
Government regulations. Yeah, we're so grateful that everybody's welcomed us back with open arms, and it's been really busy.
That's brilliant.
We're still able to take orders and post things out to people, so that's good. That I can still get supplies out to people. But yes, the shop itself is closed at the moment.
Right, yeah, it's closed, but you're open for business as much as you can in terms of sending things out. So is it a traditional haberdashery shop with all the little gadgets and fabric? And you do wool and things as well, don't you?
It is, yeah. So yeah, we do wool, fabric, threads, ribbons, trimmings, lace, and it's a really old traditional shop as well.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it looks lovely.
And it's such a shame that a lot of shops like that are closing down. So I'm really happy that yours, that you've kind of come back round in a circle with it, haven't you, really, and opened it back up again. And hopefully that we can keep on doing the online side of things as well. So that'll be good, and we'll all be back stronger and better than ever, won't we? That's the thing that we need to focus on with this
it's
particular thing.
Situation, is it? We've just got to remember it's temporary. Just need to adapt a bit.
Yes, which adapting sounds easy, it's damn hard, really. And I think we're all in that adapting mode at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
Now, I just have to say this. So, I do some research on my guests before they turn up. And I found this brilliant article, right? So this is it's a typical kind of local paper, the Derbyshire Live, Derbyshire News, or whatever, Derbyshire Telegraph, that's it. And there's this brilliant article on Amy, right? And we were just having a laugh before, weren't we, at the start? So you know how they do these headlines. So this is, I'm going to have to read this out because it made Amy laugh as well, actually. But so their headline. So this was this week, last week. Thousands turn to swaddling coat seamstress to help them through coronavirus anxiety. Right. So as I was saying, I think it makes it sound seamstress. It makes it sound like some old lady sat in an attic somewhere, doesn't it? Really. But what I just absolutely love is they call it the byline, the secondary heading. She's become an internet sensation. Now, I bet you never ever thought you would be described as an internet sensation, did you, Amy?
No, never in a million years.
I just love that. We were just having a little giggle about that, because the typical local news kind of headline, not quite hitting the mark, but in a kind of a weird way. So there we are.
Yeah.
But that's just it's just lovely. She's become an internet sensation. So I'll put the link to that in Amy's episode, in this episode as well, because it kind of just fills in some of the gaps about what we've been talking about as well. So I thought that was really lovely to find that. So then, Amy, kind of just quickly getting yourself online with your tutorials and so on. What sort of plans are you mulling over at the moment then? Where do you think this is going to go for you? What's your plans with that?
Right, so I'm going to be offering, so my hope is that all the courses that I was running in the haberdashery itself, I'm hoping to make all of them online.
Right.
So that's quilting, free motion, embroidery, just quilting projects as well, so not necessarily a full-size quilt.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the next move for me, is to get them all online so I can reach everybody.
Right.
I'm going to be carrying on working with the life coach in South Africa. His name's Harry, by the way. So yeah, that's going to be continuing through the lockdown and afterwards as well.
Yeah.
Yes, fingers crossed that the knitting and stitching shows are still running at the end of the year, so I'll still be getting out and doing events when we're allowed out. So yeah, still a lot of planning to go into various things at the moment.
I think that's one of the things, though, is whilst everyone's spinning around panicking, then there is an opportunity, and it is an opportunity to actually take stock and do the things that we've been putting off for various reasons, and things that, to be honest, are things that we needed to do to make our businesses more resilient and in a stronger foundation. And I think that is going to be how people survive. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of surviving going on at the moment, but I think as well there will be a changed mindset in general about what is possible and what can be done. And those of us who've kind of taken a step back, not panicked, and just tried to look forward and do something about forward plans, I think is, that is the mark of a business owner.
Yeah, I think if you've got business goals, we kind of work on like a 90-day kind of outlook. So if you think 90 days, that is the lockdown. So our 90 days has changed, but we're still aiming to do the things that we want to do, but we're, like I say, we're having to adapt.
Yeah.
And that's where we're using Facebook Live and Zoom. So I am learning a lot more about technology than I did a week ago. So it's all good.
and the other thing, I've seen some evidence of this, and I've even been at the end of it as well, in that I'd been planning, I've been providing podcasting service for a long time, but the two elements of my professional career are training and technology. I was doing training a long time ago. I've trained Morgan Stanley graduates. I've been out to India and trained people. I've done all sorts. So I'm not just suddenly going, oh, hey ho, I'm a trainer. No, this is something that I was doing 20 odd years ago, 25 years ago. And I've been doing online for another company as well. So I was already planning to launch my own training brand. I've been putting a lot of work into that over the last few months. So what I haven't done is sit there going, oh, now's not a very good, what will people think if I suddenly launch my training company? Well, I don't know. Doesn't matter, does it really?
Yeah, it's like me with my online quilting idea. I kept kind of putting it off, thinking, it's a good idea, but then will people appreciate it? Will it work? And now it's just pushed you to do it.
Exactly, and it's the day I launched it was really 2 weeks ago. Just as I thought, hey, everything's kicking off now. Oh well, I'm going to do it anyway. I was planning it. And I have seen people kind of posting, oh, well, people who know all this, like somebody like me, who knows all these online things, you should be helping everybody for free. And I've seen a few, and then I've seen people thinking, oh, we daren't market anything at the moment because it looks in bad taste. But if I've got a load of knowledge that can help people, and you've got a load of knowledge that can help people, and any of us has got knowledge that we can help, we're doing people a disservice by sitting and hiding and not helping. But we need to pay the bills as well. This, I earn my living from the knowledge in my head. That's how I do it. So, I don't think anybody should feel bad about marketing or launching a business. Yes, we've got to be mindful of the fact that people are in a bad situation, but I think we need to still keep going, don't we?
Yeah, I've had exactly the same conversation this morning with a mentor of mine, where he said people are starting to give their services away for free, but he views it that he's a mentor and he loves his job, just like a gardener probably loves their job. You wouldn't see a gardening service suddenly start giving their services away for free, because everybody that's a job to them. And so if you was employed, let's just say, as something you really enjoy, you wouldn't expect to turn up at work and not be paid. So I think if we've got a service that you can offer people right now, if they need it, then you absolutely need to be out there. And, your information that you're selling on Zoom is going to be valuable to people. So it means you're valuable as well. So you should sell your services.
That's great that you've had that separate conversation with a mentor. And I've had that separate conversation with lots of people. And it's a big kind of source of discussion at the moment online. But I just thought that was it was interesting, again, just from a business point of view, that, we're looking at things from the same perspective here as are lots of other people. So again, if we can encourage anybody sitting there thinking, oh God, I don't know what to do. If this is at least helpful for those of you in business, then we've contributed and helped people today as well, rather than just a load of witty banter. So I'm really pleased that you've had that conversation as well, Amy. So anybody, please don't feel bad about people trying to carry on and keep their businesses going. And the best we can all do is smile and try and help and share where we can. People might not be able to buy anything, but they can help us all by sharing, can't they? So.
Yeah, that's it. Everybody can do their bit.
Yeah, so lovely. So I think with everybody doing the bit and everybody sharing and keeping going and embracing all the exciting and interesting things that are coming along at the moment, then there's a lot of positives to be had out of a damn awful situation, I think is what we're all trying to look at, isn't it, Amy, really? And
yeah, definitely.
Look at that. Right, do you know what? This has been just brilliant having this conversation with you. I'm so pleased to have you back and share your perspective and the things that you're doing. It's really great. So everybody go and find Amy and go and find her on Facebook and wave and say hello when she's doing her lives and join her Zoom groups and all the rest of it. That would be fabulous.
Lovely, thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, Amy. It really has. So everybody take heart that you are not alone in all of this. There are lots of people out there to connect with and help.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Right, Amy, thank you very much. It's been fab speaking to you, and I'll catch you at some point in a show, hopefully.
Yeah. When we're all allowed out.
Oh, no. Yay. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, then please join the Stitchery Stories fan club so you can get an email when a new episode is released. It's a quick and easy way of listening and of keeping up with any news and information around this podcast. Please visit stitcherystories.com. Of course, you can listen to Stitchery Stories on plenty of podcast apps at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify and plenty more besides. You can also ask your smart speaker to play Stitchery Stories podcast too. But wherever you listen, why not leave us a rating and a review to encourage other people to listen too? I very much appreciate you taking the time to do that for me. So that is the end of our Stitchery story for today. Keep stitching, keep smiling, and keep creating your very own Stitchery stories.